Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, and I welcome both you and your ears to an episode of Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. In case you're wondering who Angie is, I'm Angie, and I'm super stoked to spend some time sharing with y'all some of my experiences and thoughts on living, loving, music, and space travel, or spiritual experiences as I often refer to as space travel. A rather broad spectrum, right? Well, my hope is to always share something that resonates with, intrigues, excites, or perhaps inspires you. On that note, I invite you to sit back, buckle up, and take a little trip out into the cosmos with me. Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, coming to you with episode number 46 of my podcast, Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. And it's titled Back to New Orleans, my spectacular life, love, music, and space travel extravaganza. I recently spent 5 fucking fantastic days in the city of New Orleans, the Crescent City, the Big Easy, Nawleans, NOLA. So many different names for one of the greatest cities that I have really ever been to. I went last year for Jazz Fest and I fell in love. I had never been before. I decided to get tickets. Jazz Fest has always been on my bucket list, and I was originally supposed to go with somebody last year and they changed their mind. So I went by myself and I had an amazing, life-changing adventure. It was wonderful. Jazz Fest alone was wonderful. But one of the coolest things, strangely, through hindsight, how stuff plays out, my flight was canceled. I was supposed to leave on the Monday after Jazz Fest. Spirit Airlines did me a great service, ultimately, and they canceled my flight, and I had to stay an extra night or buy another ticket. So I stayed that extra night, and I spent the day wandering around the city of New Orleans. I took the St. Charles streetcar. I put out a couple episodes on it. I think it's like part 1 and part 2 of my Big Easy adventure. You can look back in my catalog of episodes and you'll find it. But I was sold on the city. I know it has all kinds of history and maybe it's dangerous or all of this stuff, but I really had a wonderful experience. A city that exudes so much culture, history, music is everywhere. I just fell in love. So I knew as soon as I got back home, I needed to start planning my next adventure. And I pretty much did that. Over last year, I ended up meeting someone who was also into Jazz Fest. She'd been a few different times, and we ended up kind of planning this adventure together. She got a place for us maybe on the edge of the Treme district, if I'm not mistaken. We were staying at a VRBO, if I'm saying that correctly, on St. Anne Street. So I flew in super late on Wednesday night, and I actually went for the second weekend this time, which was 4 days of music. First year, I went for the first weekend, which was 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This year, I went for the second weekend, which was 4, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I got in really late. Thursday came around, and that was it. Game on. My intention in this episode is to do a few things. First of all, I really do want to share for anyone who's never been to New Orleans, my experience with the city, what it has to offer for people who are interested in many different areas. There's so much to do and see. I'd like to share my experience in general there, how it's really affected me. But I also I'm hoping to perhaps inspire y'all out there listening to go back to that place that fills you with the feeling that I get from visiting Louisiana, this part of Louisiana. If you have a place that you're in love with, you haven't been back, just sit back and reflect on that adventure and get back there. That's my intention, for anyone with the travel bug, to get out and do the thing. This is just a little plug, but I just finished listening to, I'm a big audiobook fan, as y'all know, and I just finished listening to Stephen Levine's A Year to Live. super powerful. It's about living each day for a year with the concept that you have a year to live, or perhaps less. And what would you do or not do? And I know that for myself, taking this trip is something that I'm so grateful that I did it. And I'm already really planning for next year if I don't get there before. It really was wonderful. And as I mentioned in the title, this is the epitome of my podcast. This trip was filled with life, love, music, and space travel. I left on a Wednesday morning. My mom drove me to the airport, and actually early that morning, I went to the Future Psych Ketamine Clinic. I have talked about my experience with ketamine infusions. I think it's episode number 19. If anyone's curious, I have I go get ketamine infusions to treat my PTSD, depression, that kind of stuff. And that's been life-changing and life-saving. And along with it, the medicine itself works to help my brain allow for new neuro pathways to be built. I'm terrible with the lingo. I'm not a doctor, psychologist, or any of that. So I definitely suggest you look into it. But it also, I appreciate the spiritual component to it, which I feel like I kind of leave the planet for 45 minutes in a clinical setting. It's very safe. And that's where my space travel piece kind of fits in, because the space travel component is the spiritual experience part of my podcast. So I feel like I got to take a little journey before I actually got on the plane and took the extra journey. I thought it was a fantastic way. I was flying out of Myrtle Beach. Timing to get an infusion was right on point. So that's the way I began my adventure. I'm grateful for that. So to give Future Psych Ketamine Clinic props, they deserve them. That being said, I did fly on Spirit Airlines again this time. I'm kind of fumbling over my words because I'm excited as I can feel the excitement within me and reliving this experience. Albeit they changed my flight a few different times, I am ultimately okay with it. I arrived at the airport at about 11:48 p.m. and I took a taxi, which is what I did last year. I took a taxi to St. Anne Street. For anyone who's interested, it's $36 from the airport to downtown. It is less expensive than an Uber or a Lyft. My cab driver was great. There's a long line, even at midnight. But in the line, I met a couple that were super interesting and going to Jazz Fest as well, as I'm pretty sure most of the people who were in line were going to Jazz Fest. But it was a really great way to begin my New Orleans adventure in line, talking about music, hearing about this other couple's adventure and what they're doing. My experience has been that people are interested and chatty, not just the tourists, but also the locals. My cab driver was friendly and communicative, and I think most of the people in the service industry areas of the adventure were from New Orleans, had been there their whole life. That says a lot, I think. I arrived pretty late, as I mentioned, got to my room and went to bed. Got up the next day and began the adventure. I was super excited for the first day of Jazz Fest because Santana was playing. That was the headliner, and I'll get to that a little bit later. But for anyone who hasn't been to Jazz Fest, the fairgrounds are pretty enormous. It's right off of Gentilly Ave, I think, Street Drive. I need to learn my road names a little bit better. But the production that is put on through Jazz Fest is a pretty impressive deal. The lines were long, most definitely, kind of around the block, but the people who are working get everybody in a pretty safe and expedient manner, in my opinion. This year, I went with a friend, and then she had a couple other friends who came along, and they brought lawn chairs, which I had not had the first time around. So what I learned about the trip this time, or the experience at Jazz Fest, is that you can take your lawn chair in, you kind of pick your seat, you set up your deal, and then you leave it there and you get to walk around and you kind of have your spot to meet up. That was a experience changing part of the event. Sat our stuff down, kind of knew where everybody could come back to if we needed to meet up, and then just went and cruised around. We all sort of went our own ways. There's a lot going on. Too much almost. Too much, not almost. There's a lot going on. In the beginning that morning, I watched Cowboy Mouth, and I saw them for the first time last year, and they are from New Orleans, I do believe. They are a fantastic high energy band. I think the drummer's name is Fred. I wish I could say more about it than that, but they are high energy. They're fun. They're motivating. They have a fantastic message in there. He plays the drums. It's a 3-piece band. And that started my day. I danced, I sang. It was about 95 degrees. I was dehydrated. And shortly after their performance, and it might have even been before, I realized that I was not feeling so well. I swear, it was fucking hot, man. It was like I definitely felt as though I was melting a little bit. So I'll move into the next part of this experience, which was that I had a chance to go to the first aid tent. And due to, I think, my recovery, I wasn't afraid. I didn't stay in my head too long about it. I knew that I was feeling a little lightheaded. I kind of had a stomach ache. I wasn't feeling so well. And before I passed out on the dirt path or in the grass somewhere, I figured I'm fucking going, pardon the language, I am going to the first aid tent and I'm going to get some help. And that I'm grateful that I can pass on some information about that. The people in the tent were immediately helpful, very kind, very friendly and concerned. I went to the back area of the tent, sat down in a chair. The fans were blowing. There was misting going on, and there was a big thing of Gatorade. So I sat there for about half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, and recharged. I'm very, very grateful for the volunteers there who were, there were a lot of people who were coming in and going out of the tent at the time. Some people who were definitely struggling more than I was. I'm very grateful, so I don't have any worry or wonder if I have to go back to the tent next time. And Cowboy Mouth they were worth it. They were so fantastic. I'm so grateful. I walked around a lot. There were 4 days really of music. It was really fantastic. Day 2, I took a break. This time around, I'm sure everybody who's been to Jazz Fest kind of knows this deal. You can get a piece of paper with the grid of all the bands, where everybody's playing. There's all these different tents and things that you can go to. And so this time I went and sat my chair outside the Economy Hall tent, which is sort of like maybe old jazz. And I sat there most of the day and listened to some incredibly relaxing music. The sun was shining, but I was kind of in some shade. And I took the pressure off of myself to have to be anywhere or do anything in particular. It's a lot. There's definitely a lot going on. I brought some food with me. You're allowed to bring water in with you. There are water stations, so you can bring your water bottle in and refill it, which is really fantastic. And that's what I did on Friday. I set my chair up, and I might have even taken a nap at some point. It was really wonderful. Day 3 came around, and it was a whole new experience. So last year when I went, it sort of started to rain on the last day that I was there. It poured, but before the event started, I didn't really know what to do. I was like, are they going to still have it? How does this work? The rain stopped. I got to the venue, and I noticed that most of the people in line had rain boots on. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's not concert wear. Rain boots, clunky and uncomfortable. But I took note of that. And so this year, I made it a point to purchase some rain boots. And I wore them on the way because I travel very light and they couldn't fit in my bag. So on Saturday, when it rained all day, I had rain boots. And that was concert-changing experience. It made all the difference in the world. It was muddy. It's at a racetrack. It's at a horse track. The rain came down. It was muddy. Who wants to walk into porta potties or bathrooms? Muddy. There were plenty of people out in terrible shoes or no shoes, but for me, that's definitely one of my head tips for if you're going to Jazz Fest. In case, make sure you have some rain boots. And if you think it's going to rain, wear them and bring your other shoes and put them in your bag or something like that. Because I had a poncho, so I stayed out and danced in the rain. It was kind of challenging, I am going to admit, because raining can make things challenging. And it was the day that Dead & Company were playing, so it was, of course, my one high expectation day. The concert did actually start late. The venue opened late because of the lightning. So the first band, I think maybe it was George Porter Jr., we didn't get to see on the main festival stage. And there's all different stages of stuff going on. But when I got in, I do believe the first band that I saw was the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, one incarnation of it. And actually, Charlie Gabriel was performing on stage, he's actually been, I think, a member since 2007, so certainly not an original, but been around for a long time. And it was great. And I danced in the rain along with thousands of other people, which was really wonderful. Dead and Company did come on at the end, and I have to admit, I was challenged. There were so many people at that point, people moving through. Not everybody was interested, walking over chairs. There were a lot of people. I'm hoping to go see Dead and Company somewhere else on their last tour, I will say. But that was day 3, and day 4 came around. And day 4 was really a wonderful experience because I had learned a few things. I learned where the best bathroom was. So I decided to go and use that bathroom. And on my way out, and this was in the building, and they call it the lanyap. It's not a tent, it's a building. And lanyap, if I'm not mistaken, means a little bit extra, something like that. Someone told me if you order a dinner and you get like an extra tater tot or some extra fries or something you didn't order on it, that's lanyap, a little extra. And that's kind of what's in this building. They do some interviews, and as I was coming out of the bathroom, I noticed that somebody was setting up. It looked like they were cooking, and they have cooking demos. I had no idea. So I decided to sit down in the air-conditioned room and take in the cooking demo. And the one that I got to attend was the gal who was leading it. Her name is Mina Seck, Mina, last name Seck, and her business is called Beats in Time, BEETSNTHYME. And she was making this rice noodle, sweet chili sauce dish of some kind, and it was delicious. So not only do you get to go watch the recipe, take notes, learn how to make it for yourself, but you also get to eat it at the end, which it was one of the best meals that I had there for sure. Here I am at a music event, and there's this other stuff going on. I just loved the little bit extra that I could take in at something like Jazz Fest. It was great. I mean, every day was a culmination of planning, getting to Louisiana, making my way to New Orleans, and finishing it up in this manner was really wonderful. I got to hear the Radiators, who I had not seen before, who've been around. I mean, all original members, I think, still at this point. They were fantastic. They were on the Gentilly stage. And I finished up the day with Herbie Hancock. He's 83, still playing the piano and playing the electric piano, the handheld. I'm not sure what you call that, but he was great. He was great. The whole experience was really wonderful. And the Jazz Fest deal, I mean, they are recycling constantly. People walking around, taking the plastic and metal recyclables out of the trash and putting them in bags. It's really quite an impressive production, and I appreciate the service of everybody who's involved. There was a sober tent this year. It's called 1 Million Strong. I think it's put on by a group called Phoenix, but that was an addition this year, so we got to go hang out. It's nice. You get a little bit of fellowship for people who are sober or supporting people who are sober. That was a nice addition to the event. I definitely enjoyed it. And that was really my Jazz Fest experience. It was fantastic. I do know that next year my plan is to go for both weekends, and for 2 reasons. Because I want to get in both weekends of music, but also because I want to get in the 3 additional days in between to check out New Orleans. While I was there on Friday, I actually went downtown into New Orleans to the Orpheum Theater to see Government Mule. The theater was, all of the city is old architecture, incredible brickwork, metalwork. The inside of this theater, I did not expect it. Spectacular. It was spectacular inside. It was beautiful. It was like nothing that I had ever seen, really, as far as a theater. Got to see George Porter Jr. and the Run-In Partners. George Porter Jr., I think from the Funky Meters originally, has played with everybody and anybody at this point. Spectacular. He was really, really great. His band opened, and then he went to down the street and performed his own set at another theater or bar down the street. Government Mule came on. They played their first set, which was fantastic. The whole band is great. And then when they came out for second set, they had some guest appearances, and George Porter Jr. came back. So he played 3 times. What a great gift. Music. My experience was really filled with music. So the Orpheum Theater, get there. I think it's across from the Roosevelt Hotel. I mean, that started at 9 o'clock maybe, and I didn't get out of there until 1:30. So when I left, went outside, was waiting for my lift. I ended up chatting with one of the bellhops outside of the Roosevelt, who was another lifer for New Orleans, had been there his whole life. We talked about Katrina, what it was like, his experience. It was wonderful. I mean, he was very happy to talk to me, and we had a great, great conversation. For some reason, New Orleans feels like home to me. I feel comfortable there. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I did do a few other things. Just taking note, where we stayed on St. Anne, it was about a 20-minute walk. So after Jazz Fest, we were able to walk home, which was really nice. We got a ride there in the morning. Either a friend, one of the people that were staying with us, he drove, or we took a Lyft, I think, one morning. But we were able to walk home after the event. It's from 11 to 7, and there was a great, not overwhelming police present. I felt very safe. It was nice. It was daylight out. So walking down the street is quite an event on its own. Lots of stuff going on, music playing, people selling their wares. It's nice to leave, I think, the event and kind of take it in. I'm grateful to have been staying close enough to walk home. So that was really nice. We did go to the grocery store one night, Rouse's. There's everything and anything you need around there. Rouse's was the grocery store. I went to Whole Foods one day. Whole Foods, actually, surprisingly, the prices were very reasonable, which is not generally my experience. But on Monday, which was our extra day, and my friend also decided to stay. So her and I decided that we were going to stay at the High Hostel on Canal Street, and I stayed there last year. I was staying at the Jung originally last year, and when my flight got canceled, I needed to stay someplace else. So I went to, just a block away was the High New Orleans Hostel, and I think it's like High USA. They have them around the United States. Clean. It's very brand new for the most part. It was really a great location, a full kitchen, a rec room, kind of everything you need, bathrooms. The only thing I would say about it is that on the street side, it's loud. I really wished that they had some noise-proof windows, but they don't. But we stayed in it. It was like a 4-bed dorm, so bunk beds, girls. It was great. It was like $65 a night, very reasonable. And then, so when we got there and checked in, you can put your stuff in a locker. Can't check in until 3, I think it was, but you can put your stuff in a locker. And then we just went out and explored the city. Did all the things that I wanted to do. Went to Cafe Du Monde, had beignets and coffee, listened to some jazz on the street, walked down by the Mississippi and drank some coffee, took in the sights. It was wonderful. We ended up meeting up with a friend also who had some suggestions about some other stuff to do. So I expanded my visit this time. We went to the Louisiana Music Factory to see a band play, one of which the members or one of the people who played was, again, Charlie Gabriel. He's 90 years old, plays with the Preservation Jazz Band, as I mentioned. He played at Jazz Fest, and he was playing the saxophone in the record store. It was fantastic. I mean, the place was packed, but I was like 15 feet away, maybe 10, 15 feet away from this incredible musician. The rest of the band was incredible. I think the guy playing the bass, his parents actually opened Preservation Hall. I mean, there was just the whole time I was around, it's like there are these musicians playing places that their talent is beyond measure. And there you are, just hanging out close. So while I was listening to some music in the Louisiana Music Factory, I bought some records. I mean, that's dream shit for me. Anybody who knows me, I love vinyl. So to actually be able to shop for vinyl while listening to live music, I even got some tapes. That doesn't get much better as a musical experience for me. And they shipped. They will ship the stuff home. So I got to do that. And I got Charlie Gabriel to sign my album also, which was very cool. The night continued. Our friend actually took us out to dinner. We went and ate at Katie's, which has been open since 1984. They have quite a history. I'll definitely include all of this stuff in my show notes. But they had a water line. Most places will have a water line outside. 7 feet of water washed into the restaurant. Completely ruined and wiped everything out. And what the water didn't take, the looters took, I think. So they came back. I mean, after that was in 2005, I think, was Katrina. So after the hurricane, they have since rebuilt themselves, and it had a really great vibe. I definitely suggest, I will say, eating downstairs. There's an upstairs area, but downstairs is where the vibe is at. It's all kind of going on. I had, for the first time, oysters. Some of their specialties, char-grilled oysters. And I also had oysters Schlesinger, if I'm saying that correctly. And we had the seafood stuffed mushrooms and the Remy stack. Check out their menu. If you're going someplace to eat, it is, I just think, a few blocks off of Canal. I'm not exactly sure where maybe it's in the Marini district. I have a lot to learn, but it was delicious. Delicious. I thank our friend. He bought our meal. It was really a wonderful, and we had a delicious 7-layer lemon cake. I think it has a special name, but I can't remember. All I know is that it was delicious. Yeah. So music and food and people everywhere. The energy is, I can't really put it into words. We finished off the evening at a place called the Royal Frenchman Hotel. And we got to see a band called the Jazz Vipers with Joe Braun, who was playing the saxophone, I think. I had really no idea who a lot of these people were, but I just started watching Treme, which is about the Treme district after Katrina and how everybody came back. And he was actually, it has a lot of real original characters who are playing themselves. And he sang, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a guy I was 2 feet from. I bought the record, and they all signed it, and then there he was singing in 2004. It was in 2004. Whenever they put out Treme, which had to have been after Katrina. But at this particular place, the Royal Frenchman Hotel, tiny. I mean, you walk into it, and there is a bar area. But where the band plays, there's just kind of chairs and couches on the outer right and left, and then there's dancing in the middle, and there was some spectacular swing dancing going on while the band is playing. Just a bunch of guys in their folding chairs, somebody playing piano. It was spectacular. I mean, so much talent. Somebody came and joined them with the washboard. Somebody came in and joined him with his trumpet. It's really a musical city that is not to be missed if you are a music fan. I'm super grateful for our tour guide, our personal Lyft driver, who took us around and really gave us a tour. He was a friend of a friend, and it really changed. It just added so much to my experience. I'm super grateful, Jack, for you taking us around and showing me the city that I hadn't seen in that way before. I didn't go out at night last year because I was by myself. So this year I was able to take in some night stuff. And actually, after we left checking out the Jazz Vipers, right around the corner, there was a night market, people selling their wear. You got to do a little shopping, artists and jewelry makers. And it was fantastic. That was Monday night, and I could feel this wave of grief sort of washing over me. I knew the end of my visit was coming near, and I was sad. I was definitely sad. I'm not sure that I could live in New Orleans full time. It was hot, but I could definitely be there for extended periods of time, and I'm sure we all have places like that. It comes with compromise. I guess you have to be willing to live a certain lifestyle. It doesn't fit everybody's lifestyle. But for me, and I can really only be concerned with my lifestyle for the most part, it just works. I could see spending some extra time there and really immersing myself in all that is New Orleans. There's so much going on. It's like I could feel it. The city is alive. I actually got to see I think it's the St. Augustine Church. It's like the center of the Treme district. And it is, I think, the oldest African-American church in the United States. So much stuff has taken place there. St. Augustine Church, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. It's very sad that it needs some work. You can get online and donate money to it if you'd like to help with the refurbishing of it. The steeple on the top, the cross has fallen over. I think that might have taken place with the last hurricane that kind of came through. What a magnificent building. And to think of the history that has taken place in that area. It's incredibly moving. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I took the chance last year to take a trip by myself. All of this stuff came out of a very dark time in my life. Life changes, as you know. I mean, the divorce and the move, and I had no idea what doors would be open to me as life changed in a way that I thought was terrible and it was the end. It has really been the beginning of a great adventure. I must move forward. And so with great loss can come great joy. I'll throw that message out there. If you're going through something and you can't imagine what life is going to be like after, and I know people kept telling me things will be better, and I couldn't hear them. That's okay. But hindsight is showing me that I'm so grateful I kept moving forward. I did the best I could to have life not turn out this way. I tried to save things that I thought needed saving. But here I am living a life truly beyond my wildest dreams. I mean, I would have shortchanged myself for sure. And instead, I'm having these spectacular adventures. So the trip itself finished up with, on my way to the airport, we dropped one friend off and I had a few hours to spare. So a friend and I went and ate at Les Madeleines, I think, not too far from the airport. I had some espresso and a delicious piece of cheesecake, and it was a great way to finish off the trip. I do know that as I mentioned, I'm planning for next year. You can get early season tickets. I think they start to sell them in February. And I'll start to look around and see what's going on in the quarter as far as finding a place to stay. There's so much to do. There's the French market. I bought some fantastic earrings. I will definitely include links for everything that I got a gift from, or a business that I talked to, or a place that I went, because if you're visiting the city, it can't hurt to have some insight on places to go or what other people are thinking. I do know a friend of mine mentioned the Central Market for muffalettas. I did not have a muffaletta next year, or if I go back sometime earlier, I'll have one. But I do want to say, I didn't really touch on it too much. Santana, that was day one. That is one of the best performances I have ever witnessed. Santana, on fire. Cindy Blackman, I think is his wife's name. Cindy Blackman Santana. A spectacular, badass drummer. Holy moly. She was on fire. The whole band, the singers, everyone seemed to be smiling and definitely enjoying themselves, as I wouldn't expect any less. It was a spiritual experience for sure. They didn't stop until the end. High energy. So if you ever get a chance to see Santana, I'm so bummed that I missed them here in Wilmington, but a spectacular performance. Yeah, I'll sort of close it out with this. And I have been all over the place, so I appreciate y'all indulging me. When I went to my ketamine infusion in the morning, I always go into my appointments with an intention. And my intention that morning was courage. I knew I was taking this trip. I was going to stay with people who I didn't really know that well. I haven't taken a trip like that with strangers. I knew I was going to a big city. They can be a little intimidating. And the courage carried me through. I was safe. I was smart about my decision making. I mean, that makes all the difference in the world. It's always possible that something could happen. But courage, really, I'm so grateful. And I don't get it by myself. My courage comes from asking for help, for looking for guidance, asking for guidance, the higher power in me, God, whatever you want to call it, the big boss, the badass boss, she, he, it, whatever, the universe, the source force, the great spirit. I cannot do it alone. And this place that I am in my life right now, which is, there's all kinds of new experiences that have come out of this most recent adventure that I took to Louisiana. I'm grateful for courage, for a willingness to walk forward, even though life can be scary and the unknown and the possibilities can be overwhelming. Yeah, my 5 days in New Orleans were just as expected, magical. I can hardly wait to get back. But in the meantime, I'm going to be where my feet are, which is here in Wilmington on a Tuesday night. And in about a half an hour or less, I'm actually going to head out for some live music here. I'm going to see Dark Star Orchestra at the Greenfield Lake Amphitheater. So the music never stops, or does it? I appreciate y'all's patience. I'm grateful for y'all's support. It's been a few weeks since I put an episode out, and I thank you all for listening, for everybody who's been listening and supporting me. If you have any questions, if you have any input, if I go back to New Orleans and you have a place you think I should go, please go to my website, www.lifelovemusicandspacetravel.com, and leave me a voice message. You can leave a voice message on there. Send me a message through my email, ashysbadass@gmail.com. I would love to build a community and let's chat about things. I want to give props to my buddy Neil. We have only had only met on Facebook via my friend Bryn, who I met at a Widespread Panic concert. But I went to New Orleans and got to meet Neil in person out of cyberspace at the Orpheum Theater, both there witnessing the great government mule, Warren Haynes, and the rest of the band members. And that was really neat. That was really neat to catch up with somebody thousands of miles away and really see people in real life. On that note, I have been talking very fast. I think I got all my information out. And I'm going to prepare for tonight's musical adventure. So for now, over and out. Thanks for listening. Bye. So we've reached the end of today's episode. Thanks so very much for listening. It's now time to reconnect to planet Earth and all that comes with living on the blue ball. I'd love to hear your ideas for future episode topics, along with any and all positive and or constructive feedback. Please feel free to contact me at ashysbadass@gmail.com. Thanks again for spending some time with me and allowing me to share myself with you. Until next time, please be gentle with yourselves, be kind to animals, and do all you can to allow your authentic selves to shine brightly.